Discover the miraculous lessons of Ecclesiastes, 7 divine secrets to transform your life forever. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, Jerusalem burgeoned under the weight of splendor. The city was alive, its streets thrumming with the vibrant clamor of commerce and the murmur of devotion as throngs of citizens journeyed toward the magnificent temple built by Solomon, its golden facade resplendent under the midday sun, reflecting God's divine promise to his chosen people. Qoheleth, the preacher, traversed these bustling streets, yet within him dwelled a profound disquiet. His heart weighed heavy with unfulfilled longings and a keen awareness of human suffering that surrounded him. "Vanity of vanities," he muttered softly, the echo of his own words falling back upon his spirit like a shroud. How could such grandiosity coexist with rampant injustices? From the corner of his eye, he observed the toil of the people, their faces etched with lines of hope and despair, a stark contrast to the golden rule of a king believed to possess wisdom unequaled. Approaching the marketplace, Qoheleth spotted a wise elder seated under a shaded awning, his eyes glimmering with the weight of experience. With a heart yearning for wisdom, Qoheleth approached him. The elder's voice was steady, laden with age-old truths. "The pursuit of earthly pleasures is but a chasing after the wind," he lamented, underscoring the meaninglessness of life when lived for mere gain. "Seek deeper understanding in the fleeting pleasures that life offers." Qoheleth felt a flicker of hope amidst this revelation, for the struggle for meaning united their lives in shared pursuit. Driven by this sage counsel, the preacher journeyed further, drawn to the sight of a father and son laboring over a cart laden with heavy stones. Their muscles bulged under the strain, yet their voices harmonized in laughter, a testament to the strength of community and the burdens they bore together. He recalled the wisdom that taught two are better than one, and warmth began to wash over him, reminding him of the sacredness found in mutual support and companionship. But as dusk cloaked the city, a stark reminder of mortality drifted towards him. A funeral procession wound its way through the streets, the solemnity palpable, mingling with soft conversations lingering like echoes. Qoheleth could hear the bittersweet strains of life and death, resonating with the profound truth that each season carries its purpose. "There is a time for everything," he whispered, contemplating the beauty and sorrow that entwined human existence, each moment woven into the divine tapestry reflecting God's sovereign plan. Yet, amid the honor of mortality lay a troubling question, a tension hanging over him like a thick mist. Would his toil, laughter, and grief merely lead back to the inevitable cycle of life and death? In this contemplative stillness, Qoheleth sought the voice of God in the chaotic symphony of living, yet the path seemed obscured by doubt. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. In the flickering shadows of Jerusalem's night, a sense of longing entwined with the hope that perhaps the resounding truths he sought would be revealed. With every step forward, Qoheleth ventured deeper into his quest for meaning, knowing the ultimate answers rested in reverence before the Most High, while his heart beat in anticipation of the mysteries yet untold. In the quiet of the night, as the stars shone like scattered jewels above the city of David, Qoheleth found himself drawn to the tranquility of the Kidron Valley. The haunting serenity of the night invited his weary soul to seek refuge in reflection and prayer. He sat upon a large rock, warmed by the remnants of the day's sun, and there, beneath the heavens, he pondered the very essence of existence. Is there a meaning in our days of toil? He queried to the vast emptiness around him, his voice barely a whisper amidst the rustling leaves. Are we but dust, chasing that which ultimately slips through our fingers? The winds carried his question, intertwining with the echoes of the past. Just then, a rustle disturbed the silence, and a shadowy figure approached. It was a young woman, her eyes alight with a fierce determination. She wore a simple garment, yet it was emblazoned with a story of resilience. "Qoheleth, son of David," she called, her voice firm but gentle, "why do you dwell in the shadows of doubt? The Creator does not leave his people without hope." Qoheleth recognized her. It was Abiah, the daughter of a Levite, known for her wise counsel and steadfast faith in the Lord. "Why have you come to me, dear Abiah?" he asked, curiosity piqued by her unexpected presence. "I have heard of your burdens," she replied, kneeling beside him. "And I have sought you out for a purpose." The Lord has spoken to me in dreams, revealing his plans for our generation. Each moment, every tear shed, and every laughter shared holds value in his grand design. Her words struck him like a sudden flash of light amidst the darkness he felt enveloping him. What do you mean? Qoheleth pressed, eager, yet fearful of the revelations that might come. Abiah inhaled deeply, gathering the strength of divine inspiration. In my dreams, she began, I witnessed fields blooming after the storm, trees bearing fruit in their season, and the wind swaying the delicate branches. The Lord revealed to me that the very cycles of life, birth, labor, and death do not end in despair, but rather in a promise of renewal and purpose. Qoheleth's heart raced as understanding began to dawn. You speak boldly, daughter of Aaron, yet these cycles bring sorrow. I, too, have observed that the wise man's wisdom often perishes with him, he lamented, wrestling with the fear that his own musings might lead him into futility. Abiah reached out, clasping his hand tightly. But wisdom is not in its preservation, but its sharing. Each life carries a story, a testament to God's faithfulness. Even in suffering, there is purpose, beyond grief, there is comfort. Reflect not just on the vanity, but also on the beauty in God's creation. Her words echoed the wisdom of the ancients, reminding him of Solomon's proclamation that there is a time for everything, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. Qoheleth sat in contemplative silence, realizing that perhaps his struggles were part of a greater story, a tapestry woven by the hands of a sovereign God. As dawn began to break, altering the hue of the sky, Qoheleth glanced into Abiah's eyes and saw not just a seeker of truth but also a vessel of divine revelation. Hope ignited within him. Speak then, what do we do with this understanding? He questioned, the dawning light illuminating their path together. Abiah replied, we share it with our people. We remind them that their lives are not in vain, that every moment given is an opportunity blessed. The Lord's purpose endures through all, mercy after mourning and joy after loss. As they rose to journey back to the city, Qoheleth felt a vigor in his spirit, ignited by a renewed sense of purpose. Little did they know, dark clouds loomed on the horizon, signaling trials ahead for the city they loved. For within the tapestry of life woven by God, what lay concealed in shadows would soon come to light. What answers awaited them as the winds of change began to stir? Only the unfolding of God's sovereign plan would reveal the depths of his wisdom and the grace he had in store for his beloved people. As the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon, illuminating the path before Qoheleth and Abiah, an uneasy feeling settled over Qoheleth's heart like a thick fog. The city of David lay ahead, a bastion of hope, but shadows moved darkly in his spirit, warning him of imminent trials. Abiah, he ventured, his voice filled with an earnest tone, what if our people reject the message we bring? What if they remain blind to the beauty entwined in their struggles? Abiah turned to him, her expression unwavering, reflecting a confidence grounded in her faith. They may not all perceive it at first, but the truth of the Lord is like the sun breaking through the dawn. It brings light to all who choose to see. We are merely instruments of his will, bearing witness to what he reveals. As they entered the gates of the city, they were met with the bustling sounds of life, families moving about, merchants calling out their wares, children laughing and playing. Yet amid the vibrant activity, Qoheleth noticed the furrowed brows and fatigued expressions of the people. They carried burdens, some of which could not be seen, hidden deep within their souls. The cries of despair and joy were intricately woven together, a testament to the complexities of human existence. Let us gather them by the well, Abiah suggested, her eyes bright with purpose. There, in the center of our community, we can share what the Lord has laid upon our hearts. The two approached the well, a vital hub of life, where the water was drawn to nourish both body and spirit. As Qoheleth raised his voice, he felt both trepidation and exhilaration. The people turned towards him, curiosity etched on their faces, their hearts ready for a word of hope. People of Israel, he began, feeling the weight of divine urgency, we are a people blessed by the Lord. He has gifted us with every breath and moment. Let us not dwell on the burdens we bear without seeing the promise imbued within them. Together, he and Abiah spoke of the beauty of life's cycles of seasons, of trials, and of the ultimate renewal that follows hardship. They shared Abiah's revelation of fields blooming after the storm, which resonated deeply with the farmers facing uncertain harvests and the families mourning losses. Yet soon, murmurs arose from the crowd. How can we trust in a promise of renewal when darkness threatens our lives? One elder spoke up, his voice trembling yet defiant. The enemy lurks near, and our fears seem to grow like weeds in a field. Qoheleth's heart quickened, realizing that the true trial was not merely in the landscape of their lives but within the very depths of their faith. Listen, he implored, it is through faith that we confront the darkness. Remember the fearless David, who faced Goliath not in his own strength but in the name of the Lord. Shall we not take heart from his courage? A ripple of recognition coursed through the crowd as Abiah added, even in our distress, we are not forsaken, our God walks alongside us. He is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46 verse 1. The atmosphere began to shift, doubt gave way to glimmers of hope as faces softened and hearts opened to the message. Yet in the silence that followed their proclamation, Qoheleth sensed an even darker storm brewing beyond their understanding. Just as the sun broke through the clouds with a brilliant blaze, a shadow fell across the gathered crowd. A figure emerged at the edge of the gathering, a soldier dressed in armor, his expression dark, heralding news that would shake the very foundations of their faith. Citizens of David, he announced, his voice echoing, we are called to prepare for an invasion. Dark forces are gathering, and their reach extends our way. A gasp swept through the crowd, trepidation igniting the air with palpable tension. Qoheleth's heart pounded in his chest, but he felt a resolve rise within him. This was not an end, it was but a beginning, unfolding a challenge to stand firm in the face of despair. The threads of God's sovereign plan loomed larger amidst the chaos that now faced them. What purpose could the Lord hold in this calamity? Qoheleth and Abiah exchanged glances filled with both fear and anticipation, sensing the divine orchestration revealing its course. For in the tapestry of their lives, hidden within trials, lay the greater story, waiting for its revelation. How would they respond to this test of faith? Would they cling to hope amidst the impending storm? The answers were yet to be unveiled, crafted by the hands of the Almighty, guiding them toward the fulfillment of His glorious purpose. As the words of the soldier echoed through the air, a palpable fear settled upon the gathering like a thick mist. The people, once murmuring with curiosity, now stood rooted in horror, their spirits shaken as uncertainty cloaked their hearts. Qoheleth, sensing the urgency of the moment, raised his voice above the tumult. Hear me, people of Israel. Do not let fear take hold. The Lord is with us, and He has not abandoned His covenant. His words grew louder, echoing the fervor of his heart. Abiah stepped forward, her countenance steady despite the growing dread. Remember the promise of the Lord. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. Psalm 34 verse 17. Though we face trials, He remains our protector. Yet the soldier pressed on, his hands raised in a futile attempt to quiet the din. I bring further word. The enemy approaches swiftly, and we have little time. Gather your provisions and prepare for conflict. There may be little choice but to defend ourselves or flee. A murmur swept through the crowd, some argued for preparation, while others questioned retaining their ground against such dark forces. Qoheleth noted the split in their ranks. The battle was not only external but a battle for their hearts and minds. What is it that we lack? He implored, seeking to steer their focus back to faith. What weapon can we wield against despair, if not our faith? Was it not faith that led Moses through the Red Sea? Was it not faith that brought down the walls of Jericho? We must hold tightly to the truth that our God fights for us. Comforted by his call, a few in the crowd laughed nervously, and others exchanged uncertain glances. But the elder who had spoken previously stood, trembling still but with renewed strength. We have prayed for deliverance, he said, meeting Qoheleth's gaze. Can our prayers stave off this threat? Or shall we simply resign to our fate? Let our prayers be a battle cry. Abiah declared, conviction blazing in her eyes. The power of the Lord does not waver in times of trial. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1 verse 6. We must rise in fervor and seek His face. A ripple of resolve spread through the crowd, hearts began to swell with courage, igniting their faith. Yet as hope rekindled, the soldier interjected again, his voice dark with foreboding, if you do not prepare, despair shall be at your doorstep. Enough! Qoheleth exclaimed, his heart heavy with the weight of their struggle. We have heard the warning, but hear this, our God is a fortress, and we are not alone. We need not prepare as those without hope, but rather as those who trust in the Lord's provision. Let us fast and pray, seeking His wisdom, for this is our true preparation. The crowd fell silent under the gravity of his words, a solemn awe enveloped them. Finding unity in that quiet, they nodded with determination, their hearts now murmuring prayers before the Creator. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, bathing the city with a golden hue, Qoheleth took a deep breath, sensing an opening in heaven. Let it be known, with each battle faced, we will declare his glory. For it is written, the battle is not yours, but God's. 2 Chronicles 20 verse 15. Let faith be our banner. At that proclamation, a newfound strength surged among the people as if a hidden army rose with them, their voices lifted in prayer. Together, they would weather the storm. Yet, even as they lifted their cries towards heaven, Qoheleth felt an unsettling stirring within him. What lay ahead was shrouded in darkness, and he could sense that a greater trial was still to unfold, one that would reveal the true nature of their faith. For in the tapestry of divine intention, a grand piece was yet to be woven. What would the Qoheleth and Abiah face as they stood firm in their convictions? The horizon held mysteries beyond their understanding, temptations lurking in the shadows, as the Lord's sovereign plan beckoned them toward a revelation yet unseen. As the day waned into twilight, shadows lengthened, casting an ominous veil over the city. Qoheleth, with his heart steadfast in the Lord, rallied the people around him, leading them towards the sacred place of prayer. Gather around, O children of Israel. Let us beseech our God. For it is written, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves, and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. 2 Chronicles 7 verse 14. We will seek his mercy as we face the roaring tide of uncertainty. The men and women gathered, kneeling in the dust, their foreheads to the ground, crying out to the Almighty with fervent hearts. Abiah clasped her hands tightly, her spirit ignited with intercession. O Lord, our refuge and strength, we seek you in our distress. Hear our pleas and deliver us from our troubles, for we know that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34 verse 18. Around them, the rising wind carried whispers of fear, yet in their midst, a sense of unity began to form. As they rallied together, the bond of faith became their shield. Qoheleth looked upon the faces surrounding him, his own heart echoing the ancient words of David, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" Psalm 27 verse 1. Together, we shall lift our voices, for he hears the cries of his people. The very air vibrated with their prayers, and like an unbroken chain, their faith fortified one another. Even those who had faltered now spoke aloud, sharing their fears and their hopes, transforming despair into collective strength. Stand firm, Qoheleth urged, for the Lord is our battle standard. Yet as they sang hymns of praise and offered their petitions, a thick darkness loomed beyond the horizon. From the depths of the valley, shadows neared, flickering like torches ignited in the hands of unseen foes. The soldiers of the enemy could be heard, their armor rattling, a foreboding cadence matching the anxiety yet unbroken in the hearts of the faithful. Abiah rose now, emboldened by the Spirit. Brothers and sisters, do not be terrified at the sight of advancing foes. We have not been abandoned. The Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. Exodus 15 verse 3. He will lead us through the tumult to victory. Qoheleth gazed into the gathering dark, his spirit riveting between dread and divine assurance. Take heart. For we know what is our purpose. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. We shall stand firm upon his promises. But doubt not incessantly at the edges of hope, ominous whispers having crept into the hearts of the people. Would their prayers be heard? Would they witness the might of God unfurl before them? As if in answer, a sudden stillness fell over them, the night air thick with divine presence. Quietly, a luminous glow shimmered at the horizon, captivating their attention indeed, a promise glimmering through the dark. There. Abiah pointed, her voice a wonder. What is that light? The silhouette of an organism vast, impossible to ignore, wings like thunder shone vibrant against the night, descending from the heavens with purpose. Be still and watch. Qoheleth called out, feeling hope rekindle within the hearts of the people. Even amid shadows, the Lord reveals his plan. As the light drew nearer, they waited with bated breath, all questions suspended, an urgent promise echoing in their hearts an established truth of faith. For the Lord was weaving destinies beyond the horizon that night, assembling his sovereign blueprint. As the people of Israel stood united in prayer and expectation, what miraculous workings awaited them. The time had come for a revelation beyond their understanding, a definitive act of God, heralding the dawn of his magnificent deliverance. As the radiance approached, the hearts of the gathered Israelites trembled with a mixture of awe and fear. They felt the weight of divine expectation in the air. Qoheleth, sensing the sacred tension, raised his hands, his voice steady but filled with reverence. "Fear not, beloved, for the Lord our God is among us. He dwells with those who call upon his name." The light pulsated with an ethereal glow, and as it hovered above them, it became clear. A figure, majestic and otherworldly, enveloped in glory, stood before the crowd. With wings outstretched, the angel of the Lord brought forth the message of hope that transcended the very night itself. "Behold," the figure proclaimed, its voice like the sound of many waters, "I come from the presence of the Most High. The cries of your hearts have ascended to heaven, and your prayers have been heard. The darkness that threatens shall not prevail, for the Lord shall fight for you." Cheers erupted from the gathered people, joy mingling with their weariness. Yet, Qoheleth remained motionless, recognizing that with proclamations of hope come divine directives. "What is your message, O messenger of God?" he called out, his tone reverent. The heavenly being turned its gaze upon Qoheleth, and the crowd hushed, eager for the revelation. "Your diligence in prayer and your unity have not gone unnoticed. The Lord declares that this night, he shall deliver Israel from its adversaries. But heed these words, for a trial shall precede your victory." Abiah felt a stirring within her, emboldened by the angel's presence. "What trial will we face?" she asked, her voice steady and resolute. "For we are ready to trust in the Lord." The angel continued, "You shall be tested in faith and courage, for the enemy will rise against you in a fierce onslaught, to strike fear in your hearts. But know this, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him." Isaiah 59 verse 19. "Stand firm, and remember the promise the Lord has spoken through his servants, you shall not fight in this battle. Take your positions, be still and see the salvation of the Lord." As the message echoed through them, an invigorating strength filled their souls, kindling the embers of hope into a raging fire. Qoheleth's heart surged with understanding. "Yes. We shall stand our ground," he declared, rallying the people once more. "For our Lord is a mighty fortress." But the heavenly being raised a hand, indicating a crucial truth. "Until dawn, remain in fervent prayer. The battle will test you, but your deliverance will dawn with the light of morning. Do not lose heart, but prepare your spirit, for the victory belongs to the Lord." With that, the angel lifted high, ascending into the vastness of the night sky until it became one with the stars. Silence enveloped the gathering, save for a whisper of wind, almost reverential. Qoheleth turned to those around him, his heart unified with theirs. "Let us prepare ourselves for the coming night, for it is in vigilance that we see the dawn. Let our prayers ascend as incense before the throne of grace, let our hearts remain steadfast." The people nodded, their spirits ignited, walls of fear dissolving in the light of divine promise. Abiah reached out to Qoheleth, her voice trembling yet joyful. "What shall we do when the dawn breaks?" "Await," he responded, "for God is always at work. Remember, his plans shall come to fruition, even when we cannot see. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, do you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43 verse 19. As darkness clung to the earth, hope permeated their core, transforming fear into faith. The hour grew late, yet a solemn anticipation filled their hearts like a prayer cloth woven from sacred threads, a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness. For on the morrow, the dawn of deliverance awaited, an impending revelation poised to shake the very foundations of their suffering. Could it be that the trials they faced were merely the setting for God's greatest display of power? A defining moment fashioned by the hand of the Almighty. As the night deepened, shadows danced around the gathered Israelites, but their spirits soared with the promise of divine intervention. Qoheleth led them in prayer, his voice rising above the quiet of the evening like an incense of supplication to the heavens. "Lord of hosts, we call upon your mighty name," he prayed, "grant us strength and steadfastness as we prepare for the dawn that you have promised." The voices of the congregation melded into a chorus of supplication, a sweet aroma rising to the throne of grace. They laid bare their fears and hopes, pleading for guidance and deliverance. Abiah, her heart aflame with fervor, clasped her hands and sought the Lord with all her soul. "O God, grant us the courage to face the trial ahead. Let not our hearts falter." As the stars twinkled overhead, the Israelites remained vigilant, each moment infused with an unyielding faith that gripped their hearts and bound them together like a tapestry woven by divine hands. They would stand firm, awaiting the light. The angel's words resonated within them, echoing in their faith-filled hearts. The promise was as a banner raised high, "The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." Exodus 14 verse 14. In the stillness of the night, as their prayers enveloped them, a dark cloud began to gather on the horizon, an omen of the trial foretold. The distant sound of marching feet approached, ominous and fearsome. Qoheleth felt his heart quicken, but he steadied himself. "Look not upon the shadows of despair, for the Lord is our light and salvation. Of whom shall we be afraid?" Psalm 27 verse 1. Suddenly, the cry of war pierced the night, a sound both terrifying and relentless. The enemy had come, just as the angel had foretold. Weariness tugged at their resolve, yet hope burned brightly, a flame refusing to be extinguished. The Israelites felt the weight of 1,000 fears press upon them, but their faith was fortified through prayer. At the forefront, Abiah turned to Qoheleth. "Shall we not take up arms against this onslaught?" She questioned, though deep within, she felt the stirring of the Spirit reminding her of the promise. "Nay, my sister," Qoheleth implored, his eyes reflecting the conviction of his heart. "For the battle is the Lord's. We are called to stand firm and trust in his deliverance." His voice rang like a clarion call, lifting their spirits once more. As dawn's first light began to creep over the land, something remarkable stirred on the horizon. A brilliance unlike any they had seen began to illuminate the skies, a heavenly radiance spilling forth like a promise kept. The enemy was upon them, but so too was the presence of the Almighty. In the midst of this tension, a murmur arose in the throng. "Look! The heavens declare his glory." Someone exclaimed, pointing toward the east where the dawn began to break. Indeed, the light grew ever stronger, and with it came a sound, a cacophony of voices, as if the heavens themselves were proclaiming the victories of God. The Israelites, emboldened by the sight, chanted praises unto the Lord, for his mercy endures forever. Psalm 136 verse 1. In that moment, the ground trembled beneath their feet, filled with an indescribable power. Qoheleth raised his voice above the din. "Behold! The Lord is preparing to deliver us. Stand firm, for he is at work, even now." As the dawn illuminated the valley, fear transformed into awe, and the encroaching shadow of their foe appeared less daunting in the light of God's promise. Yet, as they stood on the precipice of impending deliverance, a profound revelation loomed. This was not merely a battle for survival, it was an unveiling of God's sovereign plan that stretched far beyond their understanding. What awaited them in this clash of powers, in this divine confrontation? The unfolding of a greater glory that had been woven into the fabric of their struggle. The Israelites stood on the threshold of something monumental, their hearts alight with anticipation, awaiting the revelation of the Lord's mighty hand. And as the sun's rays painted the sky with strokes of gold and crimson, the Israelites stood resolute, their hearts a symphony of faith. The sound of the encroaching enemy grew closer, a relentless advance that sought to drown out their hope. Yet, in the deeper realms of their spirits, a profound stillness anchored them. Qoheleth, sensing the shifting tides of battle, gestured toward the multitude. "Fear not, for our God is with us. The Lord shall go before us as a warrior, ready to fight the battles we cannot see." As he spoke, a great noise erupted from the horizon, a thunderous clamor that sent tremors through the soil beneath their feet. The hearts of the Israelites pounded as the sand stirred in agitation, a manifestation of the heavenly confrontation about to unfold. Intrigued and overcome by a mixture of trepidation and expectant joy, they turned their eyes toward the rising dawn. "O Lord," whispered Abiah, her voice mingling with the thoughts of her brethren, "will you reveal your glory today?" And lo, the sky split open as if the heavens themselves were rent, revealing a spectacle that demanded their attention. Celestial beings descended among them, a host of angels wrapped in light, heralds of the coming deliverance. They sang praises that echoed like thunder but resonated with joy. "Fear not, for behold, we bring tidings of great joy. The Lord has set his hand upon you, he shall deliver you from the hand of the enemy." Qoheleth's heart swelled with hope upon hearing the words of the angels. "Hear this, O people! The Lord's salvation is at hand. Will you not raise your voices and proclaim his goodness?" United in determination, the Israelites raised their voices, their cries of worship an overwhelming crescendo, "Praise be to the God of Israel. His mercies are new every morning." Their song flowed through the valley, mingling with the divine proclamations that rang from the angelic hosts. But as their songs reached the heavens, a sudden silence fell upon them, punctuated by the distant rumble of the approaching foe. Abiah clenched her hands tightly, feeling the tension rippling through the assembly. Will our cries be enough? She thought, wrestling with doubt in her heart. Then Qoheleth stepped forward again, a heart ablaze with courage. Let us not waver in our faith. For the Lord, who parted the seas, shall do mighty wonders among us once more. Stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14 verse 13. With renewed vigor, they magnified their voices in unison, their praises rising like incense before the throne of grace. Yet within the depths of that divine moment, an unshakable truth began to stir in the hearts of the people. This day, they would witness not just deliverance from physical bondage, but a profound revelation of God's unending purpose through their trials. As the terrifying sounds closed in, a tempest brewed, the winds howled like the cry of 1,000 voices. But in the midst of chaos, a clear light pierced through the shadows, a sign of hope illuminating their path. The Israelites' eyes widened in awe, while Qoheleth lifted his gaze toward the heavens, sensing the weight of divine glory and the unfolding of a greater narrative. Could it be possible that the battle was not simply theirs to win? That the hand of God was orchestrating events unseen, setting the stage for a revelation that would echo through generations? Their fate hung precariously in the balance, yet they pressed forth in worship, believing that God's plan was far greater than the battles they were called to face. As the clash drew near, the very fabric of their reality awaited its transformation. Would they find themselves not only as conquerors but also as witnesses to the unfolding narrative of God's eternal purpose? Thus, the people stood poised, ready to behold the glory of the Lord, for the greatest victory lay just beyond the veil of their struggle. As the horizon darkened with the encroachment of their adversaries, a palpable tension enveloped the Israelites, thick like the smoke of a great fire. Hope mingled with uncertainty, each heartbeat a testament to their precarious position. Yet, amid the uproar of confusion, Qoheleth's voice rang clear, a clarion call of faith amidst despair. Stand firm, O daughters and sons of Israel. The Lord of hosts, he who brought forth the plagues of Egypt and parted the Red Sea, shall deliver us yet again. In response, the people clenched their fists, their faces set in grim determination. They were no longer mere spectators of fate but warriors of faith, emboldened by the conviction that their cries of worship would summon divine intervention. The Lord our God is a shield about us, our glory, and the lifter of our heads. They proclaimed in one accord, their words unfurling like banners before the invisible battle arrayed against them. As they sang, the very winds seemed to carry their praises upward, ascending as smoke to the heavens, and in that moment, the presence of God thickened in their midst. Abiah, her heart racing with both fear and rapture, turned her gaze to the skies, seeking the glory of her Lord. Father, she cried silently, reveal your wonders. Show us the path of deliverance, that we may testify of your faithfulness. Then, while the songs of adoration swirled around them, a rift opened in the heavens, and a voice like rolling thunder descended. My people, it declared, reverberating through the valley, behold, I am with you. I have heard your cries. The war you see on the horizon is not yours but mine. Trust in my mighty arm, for it shall act swiftly. The Israelites trembled at the sound, yet within their hearts ignited a fire, the promise of God's unfailing presence and his battle strategy, concealed from mortal eyes. Qoheleth, emboldened by this heavenly decree, gathered the congregation, saying, Prepare your hearts, for today is the day of the Lord's victory. Take not up arms but lift your voices in praise, for the Lord shall fight for us. With one heart, the multitude began to chant, Holy is the Lord God of Israel. His mercy endures forever. Each uttered phrase harmonized with the angels' chorus that enveloped them, creating a heavenly symphony that even the heavens paused to listen to. As the shouts echoed forth, something otherworldly began to transpire before their very eyes. The advancing enemy, a formidable wall of iron and fury, faltered as a sudden darkness enveloped them. Fearful whispers spread among their ranks, shaking the confidence of the foe. What is this? They asked, glancing toward one another in confusion, for they had come expecting a mere feast but now faced the fury of heaven's hosts. In that moment, God delivered another sign, a fiery column igniting the sky above, illuminating the battlefield and casting shadows upon the enemy, paralyzing their advance. Abiah gazed upward, her spirit soaring as she perceived the unfolding drama of deliverance, the concert of heaven and earth intertwined, a demonstration of divine intervention. And yet, even as the clash of sword and shield loomed within reach, a stirring revelation took root within them. Perhaps, thought Abiah, it is not merely about victory today but understanding the depth of God's purposes for us. Thus, in the thickening air of expectancy, the true nature of the challenge enveloped them, was the enemy's defeat merely a physical battle, or was it a moment ordained for revelation of God's glory, to awaken the hearts of generations to come? As the clamor of conflict thrummed, they stood resolute, ready to witness the unfolding mystery of God's sovereign will. Which unknown facets of his grand design would they encounter on this day? And would their lives carry the echoes of his faithfulness long after the dust of this battle had settled? As the sun rose with a brilliance that illuminated the land of Judah, the Israelites gathered, spirits renewed yet hearts heavy with expectation. They stood together, ready to face adversaries whose shadows loomed large against the joyous light of dawn. Qoheleth, his heart enveloped in the hope of the Almighty, addressed the multitude one final time. Fear not the darkness, for the Lord will fight for us. We shall witness his wonders today. The air shimmered with divine promise as the multitude echoed his declaration, their voices rising in unison, a chorus of faith that transcended fear. Praise be to you, O God of Israel, your mercy endures forever. They stood poised at the frontier of what was to unfold. The sound of the enemy, once menacing, began to waver as confusion wormed its way among their ranks, fueled by the prayers and praises invoked by the faithful. Suddenly, the very earth trembled with a trembling force, shaking the souls of those gathered. In the distance, a cacophony erupted as the angelic host descended, a heavenly army sent to fight the battles of the Lord. Gloried beings clad in shimmering light shimmered against the darkened sky, manifesting God's promises as they glided toward the impending conflict. Anticipation gripped the people, they began to witness the convergence of heaven and earth, a dance of cosmic intervention unfolding right before their eyes. With courage sparked in their hearts and faith rallied stronger than steel, Qoheleth and Abiah directed their gaze upwards. The enemy's ranks, filled with menacing figures clad in armor, began to falter, bewildered by the otherworldly radiance surrounding them. Look! Abiah exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder, as the sky darkened and light clashed. The mighty hand of the Lord is upon us. Indeed, as arrows of light streaked down, the furious tide turned. The enemy faltered under the weight of divine presence, their confidence unraveled as spectral fear encroached upon their hearts. Echoes of praises from the Israelites surged like a tidal wave, cascading through the battleground and resonating deep into the realms of heaven. And as they stood, arms uplifted in surrender to God, the Lord called upon his heavenly warriors. Go forth, and defend my people, was the decree that swept through the realms like wildfire. The angelic host surged into battle, bursting through the lines of darkness with a majesty that could scarcely be contained. The dark forces quaked as the sound of battle erupted. Not the clash of swords alone, but the melodies of an orchestra of faith met the fearful, resonant cries of those still clinging to their despair. What had begun as a moment of dread now mirrored a spectacle of divine unification, with heaven's warriors taking up the fight alongside those who had prayed steadfastly. You shall not fight, simply stand and see the victory of the Lord unveiled. Qoheleth cried, prompting a wave of reassurance coursing through the assembly. As the morning stretched on, light had birthed victory, the enemy found themselves ensnared in a tempest of their own making. Confusion reigned among them, battling the selfsame darkness they had sought to unleash. They turned against one another, desiring to flee from the very terror they had wrought. In a climactic crescendo, Qoheleth and Abiah sank to their knees, surrounded by a sea of fellow believers. This moment is ours to witness, O Lord. They proclaimed together, their voices melding into a singular prayer. Show us your glory. And the Lord unleashed a chaos that no man could comprehend. The enemy fled, scattering like chaff before the wind, leaving behind their weapons of war and armor, an unwilling offering to the majesty of God's deliverance. The Israelites erupted in triumphant jubilation, praises echoing into the heavens and reverberating through the hills of Judah. Hallelujah! The Lord has delivered us. As the dust settled, the people turned toward each other, tears mingling with laughter, hearts woven together by the very fabric of their shared faith. Their hearts now understood the depth of the trials they had endured. In yielding to the mighty hand of God, they had witnessed the unfurling of his sovereign plan, a reminder that through every struggle, grace awaited patiently to envelop them. Qoheleth raised his arms high, beckoning the assembly's attention. Brothers and sisters, let us tell the generations to come of his extraordinary might. Our struggles were not in vain, for they paved the way for this resounding victory. As the sun cast its golden rays upon the humbled worshippers, they recognized that their stories were intricately bound to the very essence of the divine, a beautiful tapestry revealing the unwavering faithfulness of God. Hope had blossomed anew, the promise of restoration unfurling like petals of a flower kissed by morning dew. And so it was in the land of Judah, once ensnared in fear, that a glorious testament arose, binding the hearts of his people in everlasting faith and in a hope resurrected by grace. Find strength in this narrative today, beloved. Allow its purpose to stretch beyond the pages, reaching into your hearts where trials await to yield the sweetness of renewal. If you find yourself inspired by these divine truths, do not hesitate, subscribe immediately to the channel and join our journey in discovering more powerful biblical stories that can transform your life. Leave a like now to help share God's word through the mighty algorithm, each click amplifying His truth. Engage with us in the comments, sharing your reflections on this biblical journey. How has it impacted your faith? And never forget to share this inspiring message instantly with at least 5 friends who need to hear about God's unyielding love and His strength in trial. This is the moment to support biblical truth, extending our reach to souls yearning for Christ. What glory awaits as we unite His people in faith.